Hey everyone, this is a very personal reflection on how pure India's intentions are based on my experience at the Economic Times SDG Impact Summit last Saturday, November 16th. So to start off, here are 5 statements that really rattled me at the event. Number 1, plastic waste wasn't even part of the conversation until recently. A quote by Pawan Kumar Agarwal, CEO of the FSSAI. Number 2, there have been several discussions about cleaning the river Ganga. Statement by Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, Director General at the National Mission for Clean Ganga. Number 3, India has achieved 100% sanitation. Statement by Arun Baroka, Minister at Jai Shakti, the Ministry of Sanitation. Number 4, most of the population is just surviving. A random statement heard by a speaker while I was running to pee. And number 5, you can only fight for your rights if you know what your rights are. These 5 statements were followed by absolutely no interest from summit participants as they continued to mill around the conference room waiting for lunch to be served. Unfortunately, the mainstream mindset is so selfish in its ways that their vision is completely blurred when they lay their eyes on the poor outside the community. And here's the thing. 3/4 of the world's population lives in the global south, yet only has access to 1/5 of the world's economic wealth share. I literally sat there brewing over my coffee as these supposed leaders, from the vice chairman of Apollo Hospitals to the ministers of Jai Shakti, preach about their work in sustainable development without absolutely anything to show for it or some serious sources for me to look into. So please excuse my rant as I go into this next section. It is not okay to openly say that India has reached 100% sanitation as part of the Swachh Bharat initiative. It is not okay for Prime Minister Modi to preach that he has fulfilled this mission. This is a beautiful initiative and very ambitious, just as the UN's SDG goals are. But it is not okay to talk about a 4-year strategy and say that it's been accomplished when it has not. We need honesty. We need honesty from all leaders, especially when they're implementing policy in such wide campaigns when they are not reaching the goals. Because let's be honest, them lying to me does not inspire me to take action. It just completely fuels me with rage, and I'm sure it does other people as well. As for cleaning the Ganga, where are the millions of crores that went into cleaning this river? All right, into the pockets of the many directors and ministers and politicians that are behind the scene. How silly of me to even question this. Okay, back to our regular scheduled programming. A few other takeaways I wanted to quickly share were the vice chairman of Apollo Hospitals preaching for women to wear saris to empower weavers across India, which I thought was an interesting thought. A few speakers brought religion into their statements. One that stood out the most was actually someone looking to Guru Nanak, one of 10 Sikh gurus, to state that the world is an equal playing field. I really liked that. Many speakers spoke on sustainable development as if it's a movement and not necessarily a lifestyle, which I'm not sure how I feel about this. And also, why were there so many supermodels asked to speak? I don't know. Another quote I really liked was, "Release the power of the world's largest youth population," a statement made by Paul Pullman, the former CEO of Unilever. So, Paul, we got you. We're trying to release the greatest power of youth through Hara World. And then back to our friend Pawan Kumar Agarwal, the CEO of FSSAI, speaking on access to quality food, yet leads an organization with absolutely no standards or policy around food sanitation and safety in India. Literally anyone and their mother can slap an FSSAI logo on their food and start selling tomorrow. I also was very annoyed by how many speakers dodged questions and it would answer preaching about initiatives that they were leading, but had nothing to do with the conversation or the topic. This was absolutely frustrating and just made me think greenwashing all over the place. Another one, obesity is an urban problem. Yeah, so stop ordering from Zomato and cook a damn meal. They also spoke a lot on Indian infrastructure and how much work it needed. Yes, obviously, correct. So let's do something about it because the impacts of climate change are only getting worse, and we can't let Mumbai completely flood every summer when monsoon season gets here. John Room, the regional director for South Asia Sustainable Development from the World Bank, really like this statement from him because I think it is so true. Developed countries are taking advantage of developing countries as sources of revenue. Ooh, that one stings, especially as someone who's very invested in sustainable fashion. This is so seen across the fashion industry, and we're seeing the impacts of that every day. Let's just look back to Rana Plaza. That's still happening. And lastly, why were there paper cups everywhere? I don't know. I sat there drinking my coffee out of a china cup over a china little glass, and all around the room, these empty china glasses were all around clean and ready to go for coffee, but yet everybody in the audience had a paper cup. Details, people, details. We shouldn't even have these things available at an event where we're talking about sustainable impact. That being said, there were some really great points made by Anush Gupta, the founder of Gunj, who spoke really authentically about, being resourceful, doing more with less, which I think was, unfortunately, just this very basic statement, I think actually made quite a big impact on the audience, since it was a very, very diverse audience of people who were kind of on my end of the spectrum, who were there to just hear what was happening. I knew I would leave frustrated, but I wanted to hear what was being said. But there was also a lot of people there that have not been part of the conversation, and it was really essential for them to hear some of these just very starter level topics and ideas so that they can kind of conceptualize it and see how they can implement it into their lifestyle or their teachings. So this is what I like to hear. I love hearing that business as being a force for being used as a force for good, and having organizations that focus on this kind of development model are talking about the idea of being obsolete once we've reached these goals, which I think is that's where we need to be. That's what the goal is. We're not everything is money. We need to put people, profit, and the planet on an equal playing field. That being said, there is a lot to change about the consumer mindset, and I say consumer because I don't think humans really deserve the human word anymore. We have become such slaves to the things that we buy and what we own that we completely operate like robots. There was a photo recently on Instagram about all the flooding in Venice. It's incredible. It's a tourist holding a Gucci and a Louis Vuitton bag, walking through like water that's up to her waist. And I was just like, okay, calm down. However, I'm actually not guilty in admitting that I left early. After lunch, I sat down to engage in a panel discussion about waste management, but I just couldn't help but get up and go and reflect because they were just talking about the same things over and over again, like very basic things that are on the consumer side and on the brand side, and not talking about the collaboration among brands and consumers or the kind of education that needs to be put in place or the actionable steps that people need so they can make changes. And then I started thinking as I walked into that room, I'm like, why are we spending 3.18 lakh crore on defense when we could be putting all of this money, even half of this money, into making sure that there is access to quality education, access to quality sanitation, access to quality food and water resources, and proper waste management systems being implemented in rural and urban sectors. This is extremely frustrating. 3.18 lakh crores is a lot of money. However, apparently leaders could walk up onto the stage and say India is almost at 60% of reaching the Sustainable Development Goals, and we were supposed to just sit there and clap. I just can't. I can't take that in when I walk out of the Taj Palace where the event was held and can see the impacts of sustainable development or just development in an unsustainable way impacting communities from such a grassroots level. Even there needs to be more done from the ground up. Not everything can be top bottom. That being said, it was a great initiative. Thank you so much to the World We Want for hosting this event and working with the Economic Times to make sure that the education was getting out there. Unfortunately, I think, it wasn't entirely the right audience. And, a lot of people were just there to eat lunch, exchange business cards, and show face. And it really lessens the impact that the event could have. And I also think that we need to think more about having these smaller organizations be represented because there's so much work being done from the ground up, and we need to be hearing what they're doing because there's innovative, freaking crazy, amazing ideas being done on a grassroots level by amazing young people in India. And, I want to see more of these people represented on the stage. I really, the supermodels being invited, great. I'm glad you're doing philanthropy. Lots of all this, what am I trying to say? Philanthropic work? That's probably the total wrong word. Eileen, is that the right word?
Yes.
I did it. All right. But we need more people from India standing up on that stage and talking about innovative solutions and how we can help them and contribute to what they're doing. So again, thank you, The World We Want, for doing this. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next year and seeing that the summit will grow. We have 10 years to get to accomplish the SDGs, and we're way off track. We need industries to stop waiting for policy and just take action and be leaders. That's what's going to make consumers want to support them more. We need to hold ourselves accountable. So if you're not going to do it for your country, if you're not going to do it for your community, if you're not going to do it for your family, do it for yourself. Thank you.